Okay, let's jump right into this explainer, because we're about to peel back the layers of a viral internet clip that accidentally exposed an entire county's deep-rooted secrets. Imagine you're just scrolling your feed, right? And you see this clip that literally looks like a glitch in reality, a chaotic midnight race on a pitch-black country road. What started out as a massive internet joke very quickly unraveled into a serious animal welfare crisis, a public safety nightmare, and an all-out true crime investigation into a deeply entrenched good old boys system. We're going to walk through this entire case step by step. We'll analyze exactly how 49 seconds of shaky phone footage managed to completely break the silent code of Barlow County.
So when this 49-second clip of a midnight horse cart race first hit the web, people initially treated it as pure, hilarious backroad absurdity. You had folks online calling it redneck Ben-Hur and Fast and the Furious horsepower. Outsiders basically viewed it as harmless insanity, sharing the footage of what looked like an impromptu, maybe slightly crazy Southern tradition. But as we're going to see, the reality of what was happening just outside the camera's frame was significantly darker and honestly, far more structured than anyone online realized at the time.
Let's actually look at the chaos everyone was reacting to. The footage showed two horses, named Junebug and Preacher, running absolutely flat out down a flat two-lane stretch called Pine Cut Road. And this is at 1:30 in the morning. They were pulling these custom-welded two-wheel metal carts, with the driver sitting practically flat just inches from the asphalt. But the danger wasn't just the sheer speed of it. These carts were being chased by a roaring crowd in pickup trucks, side-by-sides, and even a dirt bike with no headlight. And then, the audio captures something genuinely terrifying. Multiple bursts of gunfire. First a pistol, then another, and then this long burst from a much larger weapon, fired straight out into the night. All while someone in the background is just proudly laughing.
But those internet jokes? Yeah, they abruptly stopped when the anonymous burner account that posted the video added a truly chilling caption. It just read, "Ask them what happened to Junebug after the race." That single sentence is what turned this whole thing from a viral comedy into a real true crime investigation. Junebug, you see, was the prized black mare belonging to the locally prominent Bell family. And this caption, well, it strongly suggested she wasn't just a participant in some reckless stunt. It suggested she might be a victim.
The investigation truly ignited when horse experts got a hold of the footage and started slowing it down. They noticed something that most of us completely missed. A tiny break in rhythm, a subtle hitch in the black mare's stride right near the end of the race. She was hurting. And shortly after that, a second, much darker, shaky 9-second clip surfaced online showing a crowd gathered around a horse trailer, and the audio there captured genuine, unmistakable panic. Almost instantly, the public's focus shifted entirely away from public endangerment and right towards severe animal abuse, with everyone demanding answers.
Part 1, Shadows on the Track, the investigation. So this undeniable video evidence finally gave law enforcement the probable cause they so desperately needed. Because for years, rumors of these races had just been floating around. But as one official noted, viral outrage moves way faster than actual evidence. Now though, they had a location. They had identifiable vehicles, like a silver Tahoe caught right on camera. And they had a clear reason to intervene based on animal welfare. The investigation kicked into high gear. Deputies scoured the public road, collecting physical evidence to ground this internet mystery in real, solid police work. You had a deputy who'd handled a property dispute previously recognize a yellow flag mailbox in the video, which pinpointed the exact stretch of Pine Cut Road. When they got there, they found fresh tire marks, deep hoof prints directly on the asphalt, scattered beer cans, broken glass, and crucially, spent pistol and rifle casings. They even found a snapped piece of black plastic from a side-by-side's fender. And actually, that would later become a massive break in the case when a local mother called in to report her teenage son for damaging her vehicle.
The timeline here moved incredibly fast. The video goes viral on Monday. By early Wednesday morning, investigators had painstakingly tied the video to the road markings, those markings to the vehicles, and the horse directly to the Bell family. At 8:12 a.m., a judge officially signs a search warrant. Less than an hour later, a multi-agency team, including state police and animal control, just descends on the Bell family property. They were actually met by an angry mob of locals crowding the gates, literally screaming at the police. But authorities pushed through anyway. By Wednesday afternoon, the horses were officially seized.
And here's what they found. State police, an agriculture investigator, and an animal control veterinarian discovered the prized mare hidden away in a back stall. The veterinary assessment documented heat in a lower leg, visible harness rub marks, and clear signs of severe overexertion. This directly contradicted the Bell family's claims that she was perfectly fine just resting or out at a private vet. Oh, and they also found the racing carts hidden under a tarp. noting that one of them had this fresh, really hurried weld right on a cracked shaft. Junebug, as we are told, never raced again.
Part 2. Architects of Social Debt. The Good Old Boy System.
Now, you might be wondering, how does an illegal midnight race operate so openly in the first place? Well, it all comes down to the Bell family. They weren't, movie cartel villains. They were what you'd call Barlow County rich. They had the land, the heavy equipment, the huge barns, and the cash. They even had the sheriff on a first-name basis. The question the internet kept screaming was, how could a massive midnight race with gunfire happen without the police knowing about it? The truth is, the Bells didn't rule this town through fear. Instead, they built an absolute empire of social debt. They basically made everyone in the county owe them a favor. They'd fix tractors for half the neighborhood, loan out their heavy equipment, sponsor the local livestock auctions, and even quietly pay for people's funerals, while making sure everyone heard about it loud enough, of course. When you weave yourself that deeply into the fabric of a community, people silently agree not to notice your illegal midnight races.
But man, after that video leaked, furious residents heavily criticized the sheriff's office. They were loudly accusing them of just looking the other way and protecting these powerful local families for years. People were asking, hey, if a poor family without land and fancy lawyers did this, would they have been treated with this much patience? One resident summed up the public outrage perfectly with this quote: "They didn't discover this, they got caught not discovering it." Basically, the public felt this video didn't create a scandal, it just proved that a massive scandal had been tolerated all along.
Now, to be fair, law enforcement countered that they simply couldn't raid a prominent family's property based purely on small-town rumors. For years, deputies had been chasing these vague reports of late-night trailers and headlights, but by the time they actually arrived, all they ever found were empty roads, a few beer cans, and some hoof prints. They had to stamp the reports unable to locate. They argued that if they just went around raiding barns based on local gossip, they'd be slapped with harassment lawsuits. So that 49-second video, it was literally the very first piece of undeniable, actionable proof they had to finally get a judge's signature. And with that concrete proof in hand, prosecutors didn't just hand out a few traffic tickets. No way. They went after severe, organized criminal activity charges. Why? Because this wasn't just some spontaneous hold-my-beer stunt, it was a highly structured syndicate. Investigators uncovered designated lookouts who were blocking the road for exactly 6 minutes. They found out people were collecting entry fees out of truck beds, coordinating massive payouts, and even using fake transport documents for the horses. The feed store, the gas station, the local farrier, they all saw the signs. This whole thing operated on the core principles of money, control, and forced silence and punishment.
Part 3. The This is America counterargument.
Okay, but to understand the full picture here, and to remain completely impartial, we really have to look at the vocal segment of Barlow County that firmly believes outsiders are criminalizing their rural traditions. They feel the internet completely blew this out of proportion, just looking for a redneck circus with cartoon villains. Local defenders argue fiercely that the internet hysterically exaggerated a few reckless guys into this fake Southern crime empire. As one local resident put it, "Y'all saw 2 horses, 4 trucks, and a pistol and decided Barlow County was run by Al Capone and a cowboy hat." They argue that prominent rural families always look inherently suspicious to outsiders just because they own land and equipment, but to them, that's literally just how working families live if they've been around long enough.
They make a few other points too. They point out that while the road obstruction and the gunfire were remarkably stupid, no one's denying that, they represent rural recklessness, not some organized mafia that's actively threatening public safety. They argue Pine Cut Road sees way more deer than cars after midnight anyway. And the gunfire? They claim that was just an isolated idiot showing off, not an armed gang enforcing a turf war. They insist that this kind of informal racing comes out of a very real, very deep rural culture of horses, carts, and good old family rivalries. To them, punishing the few bad actors is totally fine, but treating every dumb rural tradition as a massive criminal syndicate, they see that as a massive overreach.
Part 4. Facts, Rumors, and Silence. So, as the dust starts to settle on this explainer, it's absolutely crucial that we separate what the police actually proved from what the community continues to whisper about. Because in a case that is built on just 49 seconds of video and decades of local gossip, distinguishing concrete truth from small-town rumor is incredibly difficult. Now, the confirmed facts are definitely severe. A public road was blocked in a coordinated effort, guns were fired into the dark near a crowd, and Junebug was officially seized with documented injuries. But the disputed claims? Those are wild. Did the betting purse actually reach $10,000 to $12,000 like some phone evidence suggested, or was it just a few $100 between buddies?
Was the race initially staged over at Coker Mill Road and then moved to dodge the police? And crucially, defenders of the Bell family still insist Junebug's leg heat was a completely pre-existing condition, though animal advocates rightly point out that forcing an already injured horse to sprint on hard asphalt makes the cruelty even worse, not better.
Furthermore, some key pieces of this puzzle remain completely unresolved, most notably the identity of the shooter and the location of the missing rifle that fired that long burst. I mean, despite a multi-agency search and 11 different people being formally interviewed, the specific weapon that elevated this from a dumb local stunt to a state-level firearms violation simply vanished into the Barlow County night. The people who know exactly where it is, they just aren't talking.
Today, the community has fallen completely silent. New no parking after dark signs catch the headlights out on Pine Cut Road. The news vans have all packed up and left town. The locals are mostly just relying on their unwritten rules and their legal counsel to weather the storm. Interestingly, as one source noted, the most hated person in the county wasn't the men firing guns or the guys blocking the road, it was the anonymous poster, because they broke the only rule that really mattered in Barlow County. They took county business and they made it outside business. Now everyone is just sitting back, waiting to see who actually retains power when the dust finally settles.
Which leaves us with one final, haunting question to take away from all of this. Think about the feed store clerk, the gas station attendant, the farrier, and even the deputies who all saw the signs but said absolutely nothing for years. Was Barlow County actually shocked that the race happened, or were they just shocked that the rest of the world finally saw it?